Hello, hello. What a great day. What a great afternoon there to share the word with you. Today, just a few announcements. I won't be very long. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do is to make sure that beginning this week that you like the broadcast, that you like the video, and then I want to make sure that you hit the notification bell on YouTube. I want you to make sure that you like the channel and subscribe to the channel for those of you who have not. I know right now I have about 190 subscribers, but I want us to hit the like button and also to subscribe and also hit the notification bell because I'm going to within the next few weeks, I'm going to transition from sending the lesson to you on through text message, but I wanted to, once you hit the notification bell, liking and subscribing will help what I'll call the algorithms, and the notification bell will come directly to your device, and you will know when I have gone live or when we have recorded there, and you get a chance to watch it at your own leisure, which gives me an opportunity to perhaps do the broadcast a little bit earlier or tape the video. It's not a live broadcast out there. So please do those things. Like, subscribe to the channel there, and I believe you'll still be blessed. Let me go ahead and get into this lesson today. Great, wonderful, if you would, and outstanding message for us on today. So let me go ahead there and just share a few things with you. Shan't be very long today. Of course, we know and are aware of our giving methods. Some of you have done so outstandingly well, and I appreciate you. So continue to give there each week. And we are having worship Shreveport District Sunday School this week. The lesson I'm going to share with you, I believe the New Hill Church is going to be leading the service, leading the teaching. And last week we had a great lesson by the New Hope congregation as well. Now, this afternoon, which will actually on the 16th Sunday, October the 16th, we'll be going to the St. Paul Halton Church, where they'll be having a mortgage burning. They purchased this nice, beautiful new edifice in 2000 and I believe 17. I believe we went into that building in 2018, and in just a few short years, they are paying for the building. Praise be to God. Congratulations to Pastor Shirley Dooley. Bishop Kenneth Carter will be the preacher there. Also this week, we will be having a stewardship revival to help some of the other churches on the district in helping them to raise their general funds, their conference assessments. On Monday night, we will be at the Calhoun Church in Plain Dealing. On Tuesday night, we'll be at the Louisville Church in Plain Dealing as well. On Wednesday night, pay a special note, we'll be at the Ely Chapel Church in Princeton. I will be the preacher for that night. I want as many of us as possible to come out there to Princeton and be with us so that we can help the Ely Chapel Church. I'll be doing the preaching. St. Luke, I want to make sure that you get a chance to come. On Thursday night, Smith Chapel, we'll be right back in Princeton, and then on Friday, we'll be at the Friendship Church down in Keithville. So let's keep that in mind. Let's look at these birthdays in the month of October. Miss Cassie Hardeman, Chris Hardeman, Serena Johnson, Prashana Hall, Enrica Gladney, God bless you, Enrica, Colonel Dr. Monica Baisley, Katrina Jackson, happy birthday, Katrina, Blake Gladney, and also Dr. Mary Nash Robinson there, who I've adopted there as a, send her the Sunday School Legend, gets the video, always comments. Thank you so much, and happy birthday, Dr. Nash Robinson. In-person virtual worship. Now, we have not been on Facebook for the last few weeks, and I intend to be on Facebook again tomorrow. However, it may come through the YouTube page. So what we might do is just put the link to Facebook. We want to focus on our YouTube channel there, and I may just post Facebook as well. So just keep looking and we will see there. But primarily, I would love to see you all in the worship service inside the sanctuary. I heard a preacher today say that people have come to the conclusion that the only place that you can catch the virus is at church. But as if it doesn't exist in restaurants, ball games, or other places. But please, let's start making an effort to worship. We are, as I said, we are participants. We are not observers. as it comes to the house of the Lord. Today, let me go ahead and get into this lesson. Acts chapter 7, verses 51 through the 8th chapter, 1a. And Stephen's martyrdom is the title of this particular lesson. Now, last week we started talking about how Stephen was brought up on these trumped up charges. So let's look at what the term martyr, the term martyr defined is a person who voluntarily suffers death, does not resist death, as a penalty of witnessing to and refusing to renounce a religion or religious belief or a deeply held value or core value. Also, a person who sacrifices something of great value, and especially life itself for the sake of principle. And the history of Christendom has been filled with a list of martyrs going all the way back to Polycarp, and then moving toward to the 17th and 18th centuries. One of the martyrs that I've studied is the Bishop of London, Nicholas Ridley. Nicholas Ridley is mentioned in a book by Ray Bradbury titled Fahrenheit 451. And I went back and I had to study to see who this Nicholas Ridley was. And he says, and he is burned at the stake as a heretic, as the Bishop of London, for defying the king. And that the punishment for martyrs at the time was to be burned at the stake. Stephen was stoned, and many others. They found the most gruesome ways in which to martyr and to kill those who were persecuted for the principles, if you would, of God, and especially of the teachings of Christ. Now, in chapter 7, it opens with he has a defense of what he believed. And in that belief, it was really a review of the history of Israel's people. He begins by appealing to the memory of Abraham. He mentions 3. And then he describes Abraham as a man of long-time faith who dared to change his life in obedience to God, leaving his country and even his father's house to go into a land he had never seen before. Though he was old and childless, he believed God would give him descendants. The next man Stephen described was Joseph. Joseph was a man of faith who obeyed God and had every one of God's promises to him be fulfilled. Stephen contrasts Joseph with members of the Sanhedrin because they refused to obey God because they feared the changes that doing so would bring in their lives, and also in the levels of their affluence, their wealth, if you would. And then he spoke of Moses. He goes from Abraham to Joseph and now to Moses, whom they had accused him of blaspheming. They said, "You have blasphemed. You made a mockery. You become heretical to the very image and the memory of our father Moses." Stephen argued that Moses failed when he acted according to what seemed right in his own eyes and according to his own wisdom. But when God appeared, then instructed and gave him power, Moses went back to Egypt and became a ruler and a deliverer. God was going to raise up another prophet who, like Moses, would teach the people a whole new way. Moses declared this, a whole new way of life in God. And the prophet whom Moses was talking about was Jesus, the very man they had put to death, and the very man who they were now rejecting, and now they were going to kill Stephen on his behalf. Look at what the text says. He says, "You stubborn, you stiff-necked people, you are heathen and heartless, and you're deaf. You won't even listen to the truth. Must you forever resist the spirit of holiness? That's what your ancestors did, and so now do you." So he puts it back at them and says, you're stiff-necked, you're stubborn, and you're just following the pattern of your ancestors. Name one prophet your ancestors did not persecute. They even killed the ones who predicted the coming of the righteous one, the Messiah, whom you betrayed and you murdered. Look at Stephen is saying to them in their face, just tell me one of the prophets that your ancestors did not persecute. You deliberately disobeyed God's law, even though you received it from the hands of angels. The Jewish leaders were infuriated. They got angry by Stephen's accusation, and they shook their fists at him in rage. But Stephen, full of the Holy Spirit, gazed steadily into heaven and saw the glory of God and saw Jesus standing in the place of honor at God's right hand. That even when folk are shaking their fist at you, yes, even when, which was a sign of a threat, the threat of death, the threat of punishment, Stephen still looked up, gazed into heaven, and saw the glory of God. And do you not know and not understand that even in the midst of life problems, life situations, life circumstances, and people symbolically shaking their fists at you, you do know that there's a place you can look up to. And he said, look, I see the heavens, yeah, and the Son of Man standing in the place of honor at God's right hand. Then they put their hands over their ears and began shouting. They didn't want to hear the truth. They rushed at him. They put their hands over their ears and began to shout rather than hear the word of truth. My. Isn't it amazing that there are some folk who would rather cover their ears to the truth? We live in an age like that. Yet, and began shouting and talking over, and they rushed at him and dragged him out of the city, and they began to stone him. Yes, dragged him out of the city and began to stone him. His accusers took off their coats and laid them at the feet of a young man named Saul. Ooh, Saul's story, I gotta talk about it. As they stoned him, Stephen prayed. How many of us, when we are being symbolically or figuratively stoned, can still pray? As while they were stoning him, Stephen prayed, Lord, receive my spirit. Father, into your hands, I commit my spirit. And he fell to his knees, shouting, Lord, don't charge them with this sin. And with that, he died. Father, forgive them, but they don't know what they're doing. Stephen was a much better man than me, you, and anybody we know. For he says, don't charge them. Don't condemn them to hell with this sin. And then he died. Oh my God. He is praying for those who are persecuting and murdering him, even unjustly. But he says, Lord, don't charge them with this sin. And then the first verse, Saul was one of the witnesses. We see that. And he agreed completely with the killing of Stephen. We're going to see something in, yes, we know the story of Saul. We know Saul, who later becomes Paul. Yes. And turned and then becomes a leading advocate for Jesus. My. Tomorrow, I'm going to preach this sermon tomorrow from Psalm 37. You know the story. Question is raised by King Zedekiah. Is there any word from the Lord? And I just want to talk about tomorrow. We need a word. In times like these, we need a word. God bless you, God bless you, and God bless you is my prayer. I trust that God is continuing to bless you and your family. I had a week off, still busy, and have to go back to school this week. We pray for our children who are going back, and the workers who have, the adults who have to go back as well. And thank God for you, and God bless you is my prayer. God bless you.